Okay, I'm Mr. Simons, and in this video we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about setting up Google Classroom. So you can see here I've got my Google page, and I've got all of these little tabs, little options here. If I scroll down here, I can click on Classroom. Okay, so you can see here I've got a whole bunch of classes set up. Let's imagine that we're starting a new classroom for our class. So if we go to plus here, what we would do is we'd go to create a class. And you can see here we've got class names. So we'll just say this is test class. You could add section, subject, room, whatever you wanted in terms of that. And so I'll create this. And so here is my test class. So I've got a couple of things to notice here. So I've got here a class code. And if I click on this, it'll put it nice and big for me. What I can do then is if I give this to my students, that if they enter this into Google Classroom, they will then join up. So it's a way of inviting them that I don't have to go through and put everyone's email address in to join them up. So you can just send that to them or put it on the board in the actual classroom and say, this is our Google Classroom code. If I look here, I can do it another way. If I click on people, you can see here that I can add plus. I can invite students. So I could type someone's email address and that would come up there, and then I could send them an invite to do that, to be part of the class if I wanted to do that one by one or for a student in particular. If I go back to the stream, this is the kind of main opening page here. I can select a theme. I could upload a photo to change this if I wanted to. So the first thing we might do is just do a very basic post. So if I see here, I've got this bar here. If I click on this, you can see that it is for this test class. I've got all my other classes here, but I'm like, no, I just want this for the test class. And then here you can pick whether it goes to all students, or if you've got other students, you could select who it would go to. So here I might start with the post and say, hi, welcome to our... And so if I wanted to, I could add something here. I could add something from my Google Drive. I could add a link to a web page. I could put in a file, or I could put in a YouTube video as well. So I could say here, okay, this is what I'd like to do. And I could click post, or if I press this little arrow here, I can schedule it or save the draft. So for example, if I wanted to say, well, I really want to post this, let's say first thing tomorrow morning, I could say, all right, so I want to post this at 8 a.m, schedule, and then it will just set that. And you can see your saved announcements up here to be like, oh yeah, that's one's happening at here. And if I decide I don't want to go ahead with that, I could junk this here, or I could click on it and then I could change the timing. I could say, oh, actually I prefer it if that at 8:30 really. And then I could schedule that again and it would be the updated date. Okay, so we've set up a class, we've done a post. Let's go to classwork now. So that what I would use posts for is just kind of like updates and information, nothing in terms of things that students might need to submit, that would be in classwork. If we go to classwork, we can do a bunch of other things in terms of setting work for students. So what we can do is we can create a whole bunch of different things. We can create an assignment, a quiz, a question, post material, reuse posts from another Google Classroom as well. So let's just do an assignment. So what we can do here is we can set an assignment. And one way I like to think about this is just setting homework. So we might say, okay, homework here is to, so we could watch video, we could watch the video on free trade, right? Watch video on free trade, answer questions. So then what we can say here is say, hi, for homework, you need to So they need to watch the following video and answer the questions in the attached Google document. So what I can do now is I can add that material. So I might say, okay, so I want to add a file. So I'll go to my Google Drive. So we'll just add this document. And what we can do here is we can change this around. So there's a number of different settings we can have here in terms of setting student work. So we can say, well, students can view the file, so they can just look at it. Students can edit the file, which becomes very confusing because all of the students are editing the same document. I find the most valuable one is to make a copy for each student. That way, when students submit the work, or even if they don't submit it, you can see the work that they're currently doing. So I would recommend make a copy for each student. And I've also said, okay, they need to watch a video. So I'll just post that as well. If I go to YouTube here, I'll say, okay, well, I need a video on free trade. So we can go and search that. Okay, so this might be the video that I would choose so that students would be able to see the link and they would answer that there. So again, I can assign this and have it up straight away, or I could schedule it, save the draft, or discard it. So I might say, actually, I want to assign this straight away. So then it will chug along, do its thing. And now you can see we've got this classwork here, and I can click on this and I can see, oh, okay, here it is. No one's turned it in yet, well, because it hasn't been assigned to anyone. And that what you could also do if you wanted to edit it, let's just try this again. If you wanted to edit it, you could go on View Assignment, go back to Instructions, and you can click on these three dots and edit it. So for example, you might say, I really want to put in a due date. I want to say that this is due on Thursday at 3 p.m. So then that's that. And if I had a topic, then I might link that to that topic as well. And then I can save that. So students will now see that with the due date assigned. So if I then go back to the test class main page, you can see here that there is the saved announcement, which is welcome to our Google Classroom. And then you can see here I've posted the assignment, which is to watch the video on free trade and answer the questions. And you can see the instructions were here. When I click on student work, as students submit their work, we will see it appear here, and you'll be able to click it, open it up, and see it that way. So another thing we can look at is we were able to see all of the people in the Google Classroom, and then you could also see a record of students' grades as you give that in terms of returning their work. So just to briefly go back over it, that if we look at setting up the classroom, the key thing is this plus icon, create or join a class. When we've got our class here, a test class, we've got the stream where we can put our announcements. We can also attach material to this as well. You can go to add, be like, oh, file, a link, YouTube video. And then we can also look at setting assignments in classwork for students to then submit their work for feedback. Okay, this should be good to get you started.